Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Conscious Journey podcast. I am your host, Christy Morrison, and I have a special guest today. You've met him before. His name is Adam Walton. Welcome back. And we're going to be talking about relationships. I mean, we've had a little bit of experience.
We've had our share of experience.
I'm sure people seeing this is like, interesting topic.
It's a good one. And there's a lot of stuff that comes up. There's a lot of stuff that, in my opinion, needed to be discussed, especially on your platform, because you do address these things and you do go into this. I mean, my last podcast as well was primarily about, actually, my last podcast was 100% about what it's like to be in a relationship with somebody who isn't evolving. And this is something
torture.
that I'm coming across this a lot. So, I mean, like, there's a lot of reasons why relationships work, and there's a lot of reasons why they don't work. And there's a lot of reasons why they were never meant to work in the first place.
And this stems from that what is it? A meme of someone shared a video and it kind of struck a chord actually with both of us. And we're like, This is bullshit.
Well, and why it struck the chord, ladies and gentlemen listening, is because some of you may or may not know that Christy and I used to date. And they're
probably like, why are you guys even talking to each other? Well, that's why we're having this conversation, to show you.
Well,
there's a lot of bullshit out there too.
There's a lot of bullshit.
And we need to, start viewing things from a higher perspective. Right?
Yes, 1,000%. And so this goes into a lot of the research that I was doing as well, how the algorithm really gets inside your head. I mean, we could go esoteric or woo-woo on that, but that's not this episode. The evidence is still there. So this started with algorithm, situations. And because of what we were going through and what Christy put me through, I'm the victim. The interesting thing about all of it is that everything ties in, everything ties together, and everything sort of happens the way it's supposed to happen. So there are times where I would have said, our end would have been the 9th inning of a baseball game. But I view it more now as the 2nd inning. We did our first 2 innings. And I love this analogy too, because I said it to you the other day. I'm like, that really hits. Mm-hmm. It's like we did our first 2 innings and we both got 10 runs. Mm-hmm. It's so the offense was fine. Now we got to work on the defense. So we changed pitchers and we came back out. And to me, I think that that's kind of really cool, because there's all these ideologies inside of our heads about what we're supposed to do, who we're supposed to be, how we're supposed to act. We're supposed to fit into these molds that we even create for ourselves without even realizing it.
And society forces us into these molds.
Well, it's not so much that they force, it's that
it's brainwashing, essentially. Yes, yeah, so to me, it's forced.
Yeah, the foundation is laid and you're like, no, this is what I have to do. And so as we drift through the algorithm, and now my algorithm's talking about breakups and all kinds of stuff like that. And so now I'm seeing what a lot of people are seeing, because prior to Christy, I've never broken up with anybody. Like, all my exes still think we're together. I'm just weird like that. I'm just kidding. Just having a laugh.
That's why I made it so awkward in our relationship. I'm kidding.
It's true. So
many girls everywhere.
Yeah, and they're all confused. I don't understand. I shared the energy, and so I got through this, and I thought, we could talk about this, but multiple things we needed to talk about. I felt that we needed to talk about it on your platform, because your audience is a lot more susceptible to, I don't want to say influence, but certainly susceptible to compassion, openness, trust, love, and believability.
Well, a lot of people who listen to my podcast are also on the start of their journey. They're not deep into it. So once you're deep into it, they're more like into your podcast, where they're like, okay, I could see it from this removed perspective. A lot of people are still intertwined into this third dimensional perspective, and things that we talk about blow their mind, and it's the start of their journey for sure.
Yeah, you don't want to overload somebody. That's for sure.
No, we don't need glitching out.
But so, I mean, I'm gonna play the clip, and this woman's talking about the 5 phases of a relationship. And after the clip, ladies and gentlemen, just so you understand what's coming, we're going to discuss essentially how this black and white narrative that keeps being rammed down people's throats is unnecessarily inaccurate. So anyway, let's see if this works.
the stage in every single relationship that almost nobody survives, and it's not the one that you think. Everybody talks about the honeymoon stage, but nobody talks about the stage that actually determines whether your relationship lives or dies. Let me talk about the 5 stages of a relationship and the hidden one that probably 90+% of couples miss. You think relationships fail because people change. Wrong. They fail because most people don't even know what stage they're actually in or how to survive it. Stage 1, infatuation, the chemical high, the dopamine and oxytocin that blind you. You're in love with potential, not reality. This stage feels extremely addictive, but it hides every single red flag. Stage 2, differentiation. This is the unveiling. The nervous system relaxes, the masks fall. Your wounds come up, their wounds come up, and arguments feel dangerous because your body thinks that love is being withdrawn. This is where most people panic and think that the relationship is dying. Stage 3 is the power struggle. This is a stage that nobody warns you about. Control, withdrawal, blame, testing. You're not fighting each other, you're fighting your childhood. Stage feels extremely personal, unsafe, emotional, and exhausting at times. And it can trick you into believing that love is gone, but it's not. That is the gateway to real intimacy if you survive it. Stage 4, repair and growth. The real beginning, not the honeymoon, but here, where you learn the skills you were never taught. Listening without defending, speaking without attacking, repairing after conflict, regulating your nervous systems together. This stage rewires everything if you make it there. Stage 5, harmony and secure love. Not perfect, not conflict-free, just safe. Disagreements don't feel like threats. Trust deepens because it survived rupture and you repaired it. Lasting love isn't found in butterflies. It's built in the fire. It's built when 2 people choose growth over escape, healing over ego, and truth over temporary comfort. So anybody can fall in love, but very few learn to actually stay in love. If you want the roadmap on how to survive stage 3.
And she's about to drop an ad there.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. Feel free to drop the ad. We'll just cut that off, though. And so my take on this is, on the surface, that sounds super nice and super kind and super sweet.
It works in the 3rd dimension.
It works in a few dimensions, too. I think the biggest issue with it, and this is something that I really wanted to address and that not a lot of people are talking about, is the heavy black and white that she just said. So it sounds amazing. Yes, we understand the honeymoon phase. Yes, we understand the testing each other phase. And after the masks have come down and you guys have all experienced, each other's really stinky poops because you're too close quarters, These are the things that happen in relationships that change. Yeah, I'll just throw it out there. I can say these things. But you experience that and you're like, okay, well, this person, when you first see them, they all smell like roses and they're beautiful and they soft. Oh, so
then
beautiful.
You realize they're human and you're like, oh God.
Yeah. Blech. Human? I didn't sign up for another one of you. God
damn
it. But then after that comes the stage 3. And stage 3 is an interesting spot because stage 3 is, again, yes, where you're challenging yourself the most. And can you sift through it? Can you get through it? Most people can't. Stage 4 sounds very nice as well. The thing with this, though, is what she's not addressing. And this is where people are going to get confused. If you're in a relationship that is unfulfilling, and that is unaligned, you're going to look at this stuff and you're going to say, I'm failing because I can't get through stage 3 because I want to, because I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, or he's not where I need him to be.
Yeah. It creates a traumatic relationship, essentially. Like, you start beating yourself up thinking that you're not doing enough in the relationship and it's failing because of yourself, or, blaming the other partner. You're just not aligned.
Yeah. And there's other factors involved too, like if he's abusive, or if she's abusive, which is a thing now. And the problem too with this is, and if anybody is in an abusive relationship, they're going to sit there with their Stockholm syndrome and not fully realize that they're in danger-ish. And they're going to sit there and go, if I try a little bit harder, maybe he won't hit me, or maybe he won't say that nasty thing. This is where people need to step into their own purpose more along the lines of loving themselves a little bit more. And so when we have these moments, I find when we have these moments here, where people are like, hey, this is what we're doing, this is cut and dry. And that's the majority of the internet. We're nitpicking one clip. I'll probably play another one a little bit later on. But it's the general consensus and the general message. I'm also really aware, especially when people are at their softest and their most volatile, is in these relationships, in these breakups, when they're at their most raw, and the algorithm is messing with people. You're gonna get men get a different algo than women. We've
proven that.
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of it is division. A lot of it comes to division.
Yeah. And if he wanted to, he would, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's a lot of attacking on men on how they show up, too.
Yep.
From my perspective, on what I've been getting.
Of course. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And my stuff is like, you can do better than her, bro. Like, don't worry about this. And, she's not the one. And then you also get the flip side where it's like, oh, I lost the best thing in my entire life. And it's the craziest thing in the world, because you're when you're at an emotional rawness, and you're looking at this, and if you were emotionally connected with somebody and it wasn't, a dirty breakup or a dumb relationship in the first place, the algo is going to mess with you. It's going to say, move on, but you loved her, and no. And then the weirdest thing is when I started reading the comments, you realize how many people, like when you see a post that's kind of like that, and there's like 10,000, 20,000 likes, a 250,000 views, comments galore, and it's just all these people suffering, you realize that we're falling into a trap. And that's why this episode, I thought, was super important to put out, because every single thing that you see on the internet, ladies and gentlemen, is designed to mess with you. It's also designed to make you stronger, but a lot of people don't necessarily see that discernment. They don't understand that right out the gate.
Well, the human mindset right now is very fragile. We've gone through a lot in the last 5 to 7 years, and we're emotionally and mentally effed up, regardless of throwing in these relationships and having the dynamic between two freaking people. The biggest thing, though, I think you made a point of, you said you have to love yourself. A lot of people in relationships today are in relationships, and they are doing it from a position of lack, where they're trying to fulfill a wound by this other person. This person treats me really well, so I'm going to stay with them. Or,
they validate how I feel about me to a degree.
Yeah.
And that one's a big one too. They validate how I feel about me. If you feel like shit about yourself, that's who you're dating. You're dating somebody who's going to treat you the way you feel about you.
Yeah, who you date is your mirror. I never understood that until, I started dating again.
I don't think you ever stopped dating, really, if you think about it.
Well, I didn't date throughout my marriage.
Still, that's kind of dating.
It's still a mirror, for sure. Yeah. Yes.
And
yes.
so you're holding that up.
And as I started to change myself, because I did a lot of work on myself, I did begin to love myself a little bit more. I began to pour more into myself, learning more about myself, saying no to things that no longer align, setting boundaries, and it completely changed the dynamic of my relationship. Completely.
Well, so you're in the same category as the last relationship, or the last podcast I was talking about, with regards to what happens when you outgrow your partner, and it's a huge thing. So that's something that you can absolutely talk about or speak on. Sorry, obviously we can talk about anything, but you can speak on that from experience. And I didn't have that experience when I was creating it. I just had the experience of what people have told me, and from what I've seen. And the neat thing is, the perspective that you bring to that. I really want to crack into that. And people could say, well, did you two break up because one outgrew the other? And no, my best guess is our situation was a place where, when we met, we were both sort of finishing off a story, and we didn't use each other, but we benefited from each other's hearts, kindnesses, and essentially essence in the moment.
Yeah, we came together in a position where we really were helping each other and teaching each other a lot about not only ourselves, but relationships together. Because, being married for 20 years, I don't date. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And you have been single like a good chunk of the last,
Yeah, so not
8
just
years.
single,
So,
like intentionally single, just for the
yeah.
audience to know. I was intentionally
Yeah.
not dating. I needed to find out who I was. I needed to find out everything about myself. And I did what I refer to as my 7 years in Tibet, where I just pulled myself completely out of society and really dug on me. And I'm not saying 7 years in Tibet is like a random thing. I was out of society for 7 years and working on me and studying and meditating and doing all the stuff and kicking all the habits that I thought I didn't like about that version of me from all those years ago, and adapting and growing and changing. And you did a version of that
Yeah, I was about to
within the
say.
marriage.
Yeah.
You
So,
always had somebody there, but you did a version of that yourself, which is kind of cool.
well, that's the thing. Like, there came a point where I felt like there was something missing, and I needed to figure out what it was. Was it me? Was it him? Was it the relationship? Like, what was happening? And the only place you can start is with yourself. You cannot change someone. You can only change yourself. And you had your 7 years in quote unquote Tibet. You didn't actually go to Tibet, but your alone time in your space with no one else being present. I had my alone time in my own space, but there was someone always present. And it was kind of like two exact same things happening at the exact same time, but different scenarios. But we ended up with the same results. For our own individual growth. And a lot of people, I've noticed a lot in my ethos, my algorithms, talking about relationships and can relationships survive if one person is growing? And from my own personal experience, I say the answer is no.
I agree with that.
You can, if one person is continually growing, you're always going to think of it as like two rocket ships. One rocket ship has gas in it, one rocket ship is completely empty and has no gas in it. The one with gas is obviously going to go a lot farther than the one with no gas. Sure, you could put a chain on that second rocket ship and tow it along, but the gas on that first rocket ship is going to be drained way faster. You're not going to go as far. You're not going to go as high. You're not going to be able to go as deep within yourself as you could if you were doing it on your own gas tank. And that's exactly what I experienced. Is I started focusing on myself, learning about myself, learning about what I like, what I don't like, how I want to be treated, enforcing boundaries around how I want to be treated, how I want to live the next few decades of my life, how I wanted it to look like. And he was very okay with the status quo and norm of what we've already created. He's like, why would you want to change? We've created something pretty cool. I'm like, I agree. We have created something pretty cool together, but it's not satisfying my soul. Like, my soul is screaming at me, be like, go, like, stop dragging. Like, let's fly together. Can we fly together? And the more I kept working on myself and quote unquote rocket ship flying, and the longer I had to quote unquote drag him with me with this chain, the harder it got. And we just started seeing things from different perspectives, because once you learn something, and that saying, like, once you see something, you can't unsee it.
Correct.
So the more I started learning and seeing, I would share these experiences, and he's like, I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. This is stupid.
That's painful.
It's very painful, because when you marry someone, you obviously marry them and you're in love and you just want to grow and develop with this person. And you're trying to share these really cool things, and they're like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And they're not even trying to grow with you. And that's probably the most painful part, because you're like, man, this is so freaking amazing. I want to share this with you. And, it's like seeing the most magical freaking rainbow. It's like, Anne Frank back in the 80s, and how everything was so bright and colorful and magical. I was like, this is what we're seeing. Look how cool it is. And then you try and explain it, and all they see is black and white. And they're like, I'm good with this black and white. I don't really care to see what you're seeing. And you're like, oh, fuck. This sucks.
Yeah, That's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, like, from my perspective, I really truly believe that if one person is dedicated to growing and expanding, it's a ticking time bomb for a relationship.
Yeah, and so you use the analogy too of you can't drag another rocket ship with you, and a lot of people would get that analogy. There's another version of that analogy too that states if you're let's just go third dimensional here. If you're firing a rocket to the moon, and while it's sitting on the launch pad, and that rocket is off by 1 millimeter of a degree on the launch pad. By the time it hits the moon's here, you're off by 1 millimeter. Your rocket ship is now going this way. And so 1 millimeter on Earth compared to where the moon is third dimensionally implies that you'll miss the moon. You'll miss the moon by miles, hundreds of miles. And so that happens with rocket ships. Or sorry, with relationships and rocket ships. Rocket relations.
Rocket relations.
The old Friar Tuck chucking the chicken over his head. That's the best. God love the 70s and 80s cartoons. You and your husband started off on a very, very similar trajectory. You were off by 1 millimeter, and you didn't notice it until years down the road. And you're like, he's getting further and further away from me. Or I'm getting further, or we're just getting further and further apart.
And that
you'll
was
never
a really
notice
hard
that.
pill to swallow, honestly. That was such a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah. And so like my only experience with him is anger, violence, and all that sort of stuff.
You caught him at the end where,
And I'm sure he's not that guy.
No.
But I mean, every single time he messaged you, it was violence and anger and aggression. And so that's one of those things too that you pick up on as you're in it and as you see it, and you're like, this is not something that I want to be a part of, this energy. And if he's listening, I'm not knocking you, bro. What I'm saying,
we all know it was a painful time, and he felt completely like blindsided because he didn't do the work. He didn't understand why this was happening. Like he couldn't see that we were on two separate pages at this point.
And the choice to proceed with aggression and anger is validation for you. And what I mean by that is he was going to do that anyway. That's in him to be that man when faced with adversity or conflict. And so the choices that we make are almost immediately reflected in the consequences of those choices. And so the consequences of your choices were this man no longer had the ability to sugarcoat what he was trying to say.
Yeah, we were talking, but he was not hearing. And what I did hear from him no longer resonated.
Yeah. And on the flip side of that, to anyone that's listening, I am a rather enlightened individual. And that's not me like tooting my own horn. That's just, and I hate labels too. I don't want to paint myself with this sort of stuff, but I'm not one that sits in the third dimension. I'm not one that sits in anything other than esoteric design, style, and growth. And even I don't want to say fell into that trap, but certainly disembarked or disengaged on a lot of things. So this isn't like a rudimentary man is going to do dumb things. This is all about time. This is all about moments. This is all about what you're going to do with what you've been given. And we find ourselves in these situations and scenarios where there's virtually anything. You can do anything. And you're going to do that which aligns best with you. And so for him, he went angry and aggressive.
Out of fear.
Fear, lack,
and loss
scarcity.
Of control. Yeah. Literally the world he's known and that we've created over 20 years is completely being shattered in front of him. And he doesn't understand why. Yeah.
And so the world that you and I had built, not over 20 years, but certainly the world that you and I had built was coming apart. And my first inclination was, how did I ruin this? Right. And so
you took it as failure.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I did at the beginning. Yeah,
yes.
And that's kind of a neat thing to me because I've never failed at anything in my life ever.
Yeah, you're like, how does this get fucked up? I don't fail. Ego there.
That's obviously all jokes. I alchemize and internalize virtually everything that I experience.
Yeah, you went internal for sure.
And it's very, very rare for me to take an L, like a big one. Because being truthful, and a lot of men won't admit this, I don't open myself up enough in any aspect of anything to take a proper L. So when I take a loss, I just dismiss it. I'm like, whatever, didn't work. Right? It didn't work because I didn't put the effort in. It didn't work because I didn't stand up for what I believed in. It didn't work because I was too soft. It didn't work because I didn't use my proper masculine and voice my opinion. But at the same time, I wasn't supposed to. We were supposed to take that L. We were supposed to feel that burn.
But we only discovered that after the fact. Like, both you and I have done a lot of unpacking and digesting of what's happened over the last, year and a bit.
Which brings us back to that video clip where the woman's like, hey, you're in part 3. Like, technically, based on her clip, you and I are sitting in part 3 of the relationship. And it's kind of a funny thing because it's like, well, where do we go from here? But when you look at that and say, I don't own her, she doesn't own me, we don't own even an idea of what we were supposed to be. It's at that point that you can become anything. And that's the freeing aspect of it. We even looked into love bombing versus true love, things like that. And the two of us were, I would say, comfortably broken to the point where love bombing seemed to be the thing to do. Some people call it peacocking. Some people call it love bombing.
Also, too, like, from my perspective, coming out of a relationship, especially at the end of it where it was highly toxic and not pleasurable to be around, to walk into essentially someone who caught me while I was falling so I don't shatter all over this earth and gives me a safe little landing, is all like, hey, this is great. It's probably not the greatest part to start it, but that we have unpacked that it did allow a space for both of us to learn a lot about not only our relationships in general, but each other
and what we're capable of individually.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of those things that I absolutely love. And this is why the relationship stuff needs to be talked about, because third dimensionally, there are so many people out there going, we broke up. I'm not going to talk to her. I mean, there was a moment in time where, yes, even you and I were like, I'll never talk to her again. But you have to understand if it's right. Now, if I was abusive, if I was aggressive, if I was a terrible person, then yes, move on. You do not need that in your life. But when we broke up, for the audience's sake, we hadn't even had one fight in the relationship. The problem was we were the two rockets that were 1 millimeter apart at the beginning. And as much as we're similar now, and as much as we're really good friends, and as much as we goof around and all that sort of stuff now, we had to go through the hell to see truly what we were capable of and what we could do. And to me, it's like I sit here right now, and we're recording this right now, ladies and gentlemen, on her birthday. So feel free to quietly wish her a happy birthday. And she's on her way to do a very, very amazing thing off in Brazil for two weeks, all by herself. All by herself. She, we finally got her a pair of shoes. It's good to go.
I got my big girl panties on.
So it's going to be a lot of fun. And there would have been a moment in time in your life where there was no way in hell that you were ever going to do anything on your own.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah. So
it's funny you bring that up.
So there's, and that was one of the things that was hurting us. And I didn't say it, and you didn't say it. And it was simple. It was that, you're constantly on the go, and I need quiet and downtime to recharge, and I wasn't receiving it. And I wasn't saying anything. I wasn't communicating. I didn't want to hurt your feelings, and you didn't want to hurt my feelings. And this is, again, where the love bombing / peacocking and all that sort of stuff comes into play, because if you're not being your most authentic self, then whatever version of you that you're being is what the relationship is becoming. And the two of us weren't being perfectly authentic.
Yeah, we lost ourselves in trying to, what is it, appeasing each other, being there for each other in a way, like,
yes, exactly, appeasing each other. But essentially, you and I, coming from two different positions, created something, and we tried to coddle that thing. We liked the thing. It worked really well for the first year, and then it didn't. And that was it. So there was like a systematic thing where we just didn't talk because it was just safer to not. And both of our childhood traumas, both of our wounds, radiated. I mean, we did a whole thing on ChatGPT to sort of figure it all out, and apparently we're two pieces of the same string tied together. I don't even know what that means.
I know, it's so hard to digest. Like, that's something. Well, that's another thing too. Like, the whole, if you want to get all esoteric, the soul contracts that we have and our astrological signs that we have, because it all is like a giant intertwined spider web I have a spider web, you have a spider web, we have intersecting sections of the spider web, and how do we interact and how do we, mesh in this world together, and what's this purpose of this relationship? Because every single relationship has a purpose. Every single one. Whether it's a
100%.
friendship, your parents,
Yeah.
your lovers, they're teaching you something, they're
The person
mirroring
bagging
something.
your groceries. You
Everyone.
if you have a meaningful conversation with them, that's a contract.
Yeah.
And so that's huge.
Yeah. If you're having a shitty day and you're standing there and you just feel down and someone walks by and they're like, "Hey man, I really enjoy your smile."
Yeah.
That they're part of your web.
You told me a really cool story. Look at us talking over each other. Just like old times. You told me a really cool story about how you started snowboarding and the guys on the hill, the operators, the lift operators on the hill were really gassing you up. And I love that story. I love hearing people give praise just for the sake of giving praise. But it was a really cool thing. So yeah, I would share that story because you were kind of touching on it. But
yeah, so it's my birthday today, and I am turning in the normal world the age of 43. And
great skin for 43.
Looks fabulous, right? And I have some friends that have been snowboarding for such a long time. And I remember telling them, I was like, man, I really want to get back into snowboarding because I did it for a season about 15, 20 years ago when I was with my ex-husband, but we stopped for various reasons. And I have missed it. I've missed it for a long time. I missed the culture. I missed the energy of the camaraderie of the boarders on the hill. Like, they're a bunch of fucking goofballs. And I love that. And he was like, why don't you just go? And I was like, oh, whatever. I'm like old. Because that is a program that has been taught, the older you get, you're supposed to slow down and not do as much dangerous things as you do when you're young, and you're just going to get hurt. And they pretty much said, don't do that. Why would you want to follow that? And I was like, good question.
And by they, she means society, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. And I was like, good question. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go for it. And it's funny because I was sitting on the hill this weekend and this girl's like, oh, I like your board. Did you rent it? And I was like, no, I bought it. She's like, you're new and you bought it? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, wow, I'm really impressed that you committed so much that you bought your gear instead of just renting it to see if you'd like it again. And I was like, no, girl, I'm going all in. And it's funny because the day I showed up on the hill, I was on the bunny hill and my friend gave me like a 10-minute instructional direction. You want to go to your toe edge, heel edge, master stopping, and really just focus on that. And so for 2 days, I was falling down the bunny hill where these little tiny tots are right beside me. And I'm like one of the only adults there that doesn't know what they're doing. And I'm falling on my ass. And I just go down and then I ride up the little flat lift thing, and the lifties are like, keep going for it, eh? And I was just like, yeah, I want to learn. And I remember on like day 2, I told one of the lifties, I was like, I really want to make it to the big hill before Christmas. And he was just like, well, you're doing pretty good, so I think you might make it there before. And I was just like, that's interesting thing to say. I'm like, maybe I am doing pretty good. And that was the first weekend. And then the second weekend, my buddy actually took me up the big hill. He was like, yeah, I think you know enough to stop. we'll take you down the big hill. All I could do is one run and then I got to go to work. I was just like, oh God. Slightly scared. We go up the hill, shows me how to navigate the hill, and I make it down without falling, which is nice. And I was wobbly. And the lifty saw me over there. He's like, oh, you made it to the big hill. And I was just like, yeah, I'm giving it a shot. And I'm now 6 days in, and each day I only do 4 hours because it's exhausting.
Quite taxing.
And I'm like 6 days in, and yesterday when I was there, one of the lifties, he was like, wow. He's like, he saw me come down the hill of the bigger hill. He's like, I'm really impressed with how far you've come in such a short period of time. He's like, you're doing so well. He's like, this is amazing. I love seeing that. And the whole time they're just gassing me up. So I feel freaking amazing. And I'm like, yeah, man, this is so good. So yeah, I started snowboarding, and the progression was completely terrifying, but it's the energy of every single lifty that's there. And I met people on the hill. Like, I met a lady, and she was like, "Oh, is this like your second season snowboarding?" And I was like, "No, it's my 6th day." And she's like, "Wow, you're doing really well. I saw you going down. I'm really impressed." And I was like, "Wow, maybe these people are here just in my spider web to say, yo, keep going."
These are all contracts. 100%.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool experience, I have to say.
That's the stuff that I absolutely adore. And one of the things that I tend to do in my own life is I just gas anybody up, just for the sake of it, because one of the funniest things out there is you see those memes. It's like, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. It's like, it's also free to be a dick. And I'm like, that's kind of funny because it's true. But yeah, it really doesn't cost anything to be nice, and actually you gain from it. So
I almost stopped too before I even started, like, just to throw in a 2-second thing, but I almost stopped because I signed up to go with a friend, and we bought a season's pass together, and I ended up having a fallout with that friend, which is unfortunate. But I remember I called you. I was crying, and I was like, "Oh, this fucking sucks. Oh, blah. I don't know if I want to go tomorrow. This is so stressful, and I've never done anything alone in my life." Because remember, I'm coming out of a year, like 20 years, when I've always been around someone. And then, you calmed me down.
I even told you to go. You have to go.
Yeah, you're like, do it. And I was just like, you know what? You're right. I'm like, I'm not going to let them win. I'm not going to let them stop me from something I really want to get back into again. And so I did something that completely terrified me, and that was show up at the hill alone, not knowing what the heck I was going to do.
But you can also look at your own particular soul contract in this one as well. And this is something that, again, you're going to look at all the influences out there, and they're going to say all these things, and everyone's going to talk about a polished life that, you could have too if you just fucking tried a little bit harder, which is bullshit. Right? You learn in the chaos.
Yeah.
And you apply in the good times. And for you, if you look at your life, when you and I ended, it was a bit tumultuous. And immediately you switched over to these other people, which then became even more tumultuous, which was essentially not about an individual. It was about your experience needing to change and the eradication of anybody in your life that was still allowing you to hold on to your old anchors. So everybody left one way or t'other. And you then gained strength because you're like, okay, I'm stripped of everything that I was about to rely on.
Yeah.
And now
the universe is like, yo, bitch, are you actually going to go ahead and do this because you want to do it? Or are you going to not do it because you're so tied to going with someone and doing something with someone and having that, I need someone. I don't need anyone. Fuck it.
100%. And cosmically, that was one of the biggest problems that you and I had, was we always had to be together. And it was, this is going to sound terrible.
To me, it was comfortable. Like, that's all I known.
And to me, it was killing me.
Sorry.
And I don't mean that in a terrible way. You're an absolute, you are one of my all-time favorite people on this planet.
Oh, come on. You loved being with me all the time, even though it was killing you.
Well, it was killing me a little bit, but that's just, and that's got nothing to do with you, and it's got nothing to do with me, and it's literally got nothing to do with anything you're going to see any of these fucking gurus talking about.
Exactly.
And it has everything to do with my fundamental core understanding of how I carry myself in the world, which is, there are people out there who are total extroverts, and they recharge, and they do things, and they understand, and they comprehend things through action, through other people, through this, through that.
Well, I think that's an excellent point.
And my whole connection thing is, I need to see what's going on, and I need to take it all in, and I need it inside, and I need that time. People are like, well, what are you doing with your alone time? I'm like, honestly, often just staring at the wall. I don't have time.
And to me, my soul dies staring at the wall. I'm like, oh.
But that's where I catch fire. Like, my brain is on fire. And that's what I'm saying. Like, there's fundamental differences. Yes, they can be worked out. Yes, they can, with communication, it's like, hey, Christy, like, just arbitrarily, let's say we're back together. Be like, hey, for this weekend, I'll text you, but I'm going to stare at the wall. I mean, just please let me stare at the wall. You go do what you got to do.
And the funny part is,
I need to know.
In the third dimensional relationship, if a man brings that to the attention of a woman, I would guarantee more often than not that woman's like, oh, he's going to go cheat on me.
Yeah, and I would say to you, in the fifth dimension, I'll stare at your wall. I don't care. I just can't.
Just give me my space.
Yeah, exactly. But so now again, third dimensionally, you know, what that looks like in the third dimension is a man wants to play his PlayStation. He just wants to sit down and knock a game out.
And a
And
woman
just
feels like he's being unproductive and such a loser.
exactly. What
Yeah.
is he, 40 years old, still playing video games? What's
Yeah.
wrong with him? You know, because that's our programming. You know, our parents didn't play video games at 40 because they didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so we're in a generation right now where absolutely everything is cell phones, tablets, video games, disconnect, disconnect, disconnect. And so we're pre-programmed to be disconnected. And we're pre-programmed to say, I can do it on my own. We're pre-programmed to say, I'm in my own head. I'm in my own space. I can do what I want to do. And this world doesn't allow for that,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of crazy because, you know, you say to yourself, well, how am I supposed to navigate or do this or do that without hurting somebody's feelings? And even with us, who are both essentially fifth dimensional thinkers primarily, you know, we got ourselves into a situation where it's like, I don't fully understand what's going on. I'm going to internalize this based on my own understanding and comprehension. I'm not going to talk to her about it. I don't want to burden her. I don't want to, I don't want to put this out there. And then, so now I'm being silent.
Mm-hmm.
You're picking up on it.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking that from your childhood traumas, your things, your nuances, the way you function. And you say to yourself, he's doing this, this, and this because of this, this, and this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to pull back. And then I go, well, she's pulling back from me. This is a bit weird. I'm going to just observe a little bit. I'm going to back off and observe a little bit more.
Yeah.
Next
and
thing
it
you
all
know, you've
came
got
from we weren't communicating.
100%. Two people who can talk about absolutely everything. Weren't communicating.
It sounds
Right?
so wild. And I
Right?
think that blew both of us out of the water because we literally could have such intense, amazing conversations throughout our entire relationship. And yet we were not able to have the relationship conversations about each other, what we needed, what, you know, we were feeling. I think because we were both afraid of, I don't know, hurting the other person, whatever it was from both sides. But essentially, I think we just didn't want to hurt each other. So we just kind of navigated and kind of played
and we
smaller.
ended up hurting each other.
Yeah. Like fools. See, I think this is a great point. Like, even as fifth dimensional and as growth and as, you know, a high level thinking that we are, and we've done work on ourselves over the years.
Oh, yeah.
It goes to show you that, yeah, we can still fuck things up, but it's not, we don't view it as fucking up. We view it as a lesson that we're going to put into our tool belt of life. Are we going to do it again? Probably by accident, but we'll be able to catch it a lot sooner.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. Like, we, you know, the multiple conversations about soul contracts, this, that, and the other thing. You and I both feel that our soul contract ended, on that fateful day.
Fateful day.
Look at that. That's pretty good. But the neat thing is, I certainly see it now. And I'm not sure if you do, but I certainly see it now that it feels to me that another soul contract is starting.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah, we're still navigating what we are to each other and what capacity.
So that's why when people say, "Did you guys break up?" We transitioned.
Yeah. There have been changes to our relationship. What
Correct.
they are, we are still determining.
Exactly.
But what we have identified is we enjoy each other's energy. We enjoy each other's conversation.
Yeah.
Just the presence alone feels greater than the void of not being together.
It was weird. It was weird when you were gone.
Yeah. And some people are like, well, why don't you just, you know, date then? Because it's deeper than that. And this is what we're navigating. And we're probably going to share it along the way and what we're finding out. I'm not going to speculate on anything. You don't speculate on anything. We're just living in a position of right now. Are we lovers? No. Are we really good friends? Yes. Are we navigating what our friendship looks like? 100%. And it will evolve over time as we each are unpacking and learning more about ourselves, dynamics, and, you know, what it could be. You know, it could be something entirely new. Who knows?
This world doesn't offer too many safe spaces.
Yeah.
And I used to make fun of the old safe space. I need an adult. But the more we get charged with everything going around here, like the 5G and the this and the that, and the energetic resonance, and the fact that, I mean, just like, you know, the world's elite, for example, don't have Wi-Fi in their house. Everything is hardwired to the modem for whatever they need the internet for. Everything. right? And yet we're over here going, hey, this Wi-Fi doesn't mean anything. It's okay. This 5G is okay. This spraying in the air is okay. I mean, that sounds weird to some people who aren't paying attention to that sort of stuff, but the idea is energy. Energy is absolutely everywhere. There are people like, I don't believe in energy. I don't believe in that sort of connection, right? You can text that to somebody, and guess what? It's running through the energy of your Wi-Fi. So it's going off into nothing and reappearing somewhere else. That's what the energy is. And so do I have the ability to tell anyone what I'm doing, where I'm going, how you and I are functioning?
Yeah, we don't predict the future.
The answer is no. And the only time that we did have the ability to tell people, you and I were both playing a role. We were playing the role of boyfriend, girlfriend. And that to me was one of the things that didn't seem right. And I knew it. I knew that we were playing a character. I even brought it up a few times. You're like, no, this is real life. And I'm like, okay, I know, I understand what you're saying, and I understand what I'm saying. But like right now, it doesn't feel like we're playing a character.
Yeah.
Right? It did feel
I think
like
it's
we were
because
playing
there's
a
things that
character.
I didn't want whenever there was something that I wanted to talk to about, I didn't, because I didn't want to hurt your feelings. I didn't want to cause a riff. I really enjoy you, blah, blah, blah. It's 2:22 actually when we're talking about this, which is pretty cool.
Perfect.
But I also learned that not
And we just hit 46 minutes on the podcast, which is my angel
Your
number,
number?
my personal angel number.
Not talking about it hurt the relationship even more, and it didn't allow it to evolve. And now that we're not in a couple perspective, we've had a lot of conversations that we should have had when we were dating.
The pressure's off.
Yeah, the pressure's completely off. I'll say things, you're like, I don't fucking care if I hurt your feelings. Not in a mean way, but it's like the pressure of tiptoeing and not wanting to hurt you. It's like, this is what I need in a relationship, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, I can fully see that. And you say the exact same thing, and I can fully see that. The dialogue is a little bit more freer, which is nice.
100%, because I mean, look at the Brazil trip. No way in fucking hell do I want to go to Brazil in the rainy season and walk around and go into the jungle and pick. I don't want to do that shit. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that fucking at all, right? But I would have. I would have been like, yeah, let's go. And then a little piece of me would have died inside because I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't want to hurt you. So now you're like, I'm going. I'm like, oh, send pictures.
Sayonara.
Exactly. All I said to you, the one thing I said to you was bring more than one pair of shoes. And you're like, good point. And so I'm just not into it. I mean, I'm into it. I want to do it. It's just not for me right now. And I would have quote unquote been forced to go, because as a boyfriend, I'm like, I'm not going to say no. You want to go? I'm not going to let you go to Brazil by yourself. Now that we're not dating, I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Sayonara, lady.
Exactly. Just be safe, And again, ladies and gentlemen,
I'm doing it alone.
I'm being facetious.
Again. Yay me.
And this is a bad spot because now it makes me sound like an asshole, because I'm like, oh, she's just going to walk off into the jungle by herself. She's not. She's going with a guide and a tour and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I have set it up where I'm not like fully alone. I'm not,
The guide does need to see a picture of my face, because it will be the last face he sees if anything happens to you.
You're going to Liam Nielsen it if anything happens. I will find
I do have a certain set of skills, and I have the ability to call anyone to get anything I need. So that's a convenient thing.
Yeah.
And that's one of those funny things too. Like, I joke about that, but I come from that life. Like, I mean, every single healer I've ever fucking met was a thug at one point. And that's right, Neo. You get at that. And that's one of those things that it's like, okay, I don't resonate with that man anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But he's around if I need him to be.
Mm-hmm.
And this relationship, all relationships, we have this idea that if it doesn't work out, I'll be alone for the rest of my life, or this or that or the other thing. So many people are in a relationship because they just don't want to be alone, but they're not thriving. And that's why I say, even with us, as painful as the breakup was, it absolutely needed to happen, because you specifically became way stronger. And I specifically gleaned a crap load of knowledge about who I am and what I'm capable of, for a multitude of things. And so both of us walked away from it, and both of us are better. And both of us right now are still remunerating in the lesson. Like the lesson from the impact of the breakup was substantial. And the cool thing is the lessons are still being taught, is what I'm saying. So it's not like I'm sitting here going, oh, I've taken it all in and, we're good to go. It's like, oh, I'm still seeing this stuff. I'm still seeing this. I'm seeing that. I'm like, okay, I'm seeing her in this light. I'm watching what she's doing. Is there a thing like, do we even want to try this again?
Yeah, is there an alignment anymore? Like,
Yeah,
how I show up in my authentic self, does it align? Does it not align? There's a lot of factors that come into play.
1,000%. And so that's why, you and I feel that in every single relationship that's out there, again, this is back to the gurus and the people that you're seeing on the internet. Ladies and gentlemen, listening to this show right now, every single person is talking to you from a position of absolutes. And there isn't a single fucking person on this planet that has the authority to speak from absolutes.
Completely.
And so what we're trying to share with you here is a very real, very fresh situation where even as advanced as you are mentally, or maybe you're trying to get there, there are no true answers. There are no true paths. And you cannot listen to the gurus because they will fuck you up.
I would say the only truth path when it comes to relationships is what I would like to call obvious true paths, meaning if someone cheats on you, it's done. Like, have enough self-respect to part
Yeah, I would
ways.
agree
If
with
they
that.
beat you,
Yeah.
physically beat you, part ways. Emotionally beat you, part ways. If it's emotional, and you bring it to their attention and they stop, okay, that means he's willing to work on it and he wasn't aware. Cool. But definitely physical out. There's zero room for that. Even, anything that happens. I want to ask you, there is a lot of stuff that's going out online that says men and women should never be friends with their exes. What do you think about that?
Fuck. Well, so I don't know. I don't know what it is about me, but I'm friends with all my exes. And I know that bothered you in the relationship too.
No, that didn't bother me. Certain actions that you did bothered me. It wasn't because they were exes.
Okay. Yeah. I'm also pretty open about a lot of stuff, and boundaries and borders and all that sort of stuff are like, they exist, but they're with me and my group of friends, it's very open. I'm not over here saying I'm a swinger or anything like that, but I'm just saying I don't play by the rules. The majority of the rules, I make my own rules, and I'm even too cool to play by those. So that's me being facetious and joking around. I am friends with all my exes, and I say that as in like the ones that matter. Now, the truth is, I never really dated that many people. There are a lot of people who thought we were dating, but that didn't happen. The ones that I care about, the ones that I had a connection with, yes, I'm absolutely friends with them, because it was never a deep enough connection to cause any pain to me whatsoever. Because for years and years and years, I was so damaged and so third dimensional that nobody got through anything. So it was very easy to stay connected to an ex. You're the first person that I can openly state that I believe I loved. And I don't think that has gone away. I just don't understand a proper definition of what love is at this moment in time. I don't have enough information to make that statement.
Mm-hmm.
And even by making that statement, it demonstrates how cognitive I actually am.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not me being arrogant. That is me stating that every single person that's going to tell you that they're in love with you has something to gain.
Mm-hmm.
And when you no longer decide to play the games of I have something to gain, I have something to control, Christy is my property, and I've said 1,000 times, the two things you never mess with is a man's car and his woman.
Mm-hmm.
So in an aspect, in a relationship, there is ownership.
Find that video content.
You got to calm down there, lady. I don't know if you all heard that. Alexa just snapped at me.
Yeah, Alexa's yelling at you.
CIA's like, you haven't been talking about stuff for too long here. What's going on? Spy bots. The ownership is there, and that's also the pressure that was on us. Like, can I keep this up and all that sort of stuff? And I don't mean ownership in any weird or peculiar way, but it's in every single man's subconscious. That's like, if your man's looking at you, trust when a man is really truly looking at you that you're his everything.
She should be.
Yes.
And that's actually one thing that I've experienced with you, the way that you looked at me and put me as a priority was next level compared to anything I've ever experienced before.
and I still do it.
Completely.
And so it's not like I'm over here quote unquote simping for this girl.
No.
But you have one of those essences, one of those energies, one of those hearts that is almost naive. It's so childlike joyousness. And it's not an insult when I say that. I mean, you're a genius. You've accomplished a million things in life, and you've got a million more to accomplish. So at no point would I say you're naive. I am saying that the smile, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the video, you've seen her smile. Like, there it is right there. Right? This girl just knocks it completely out of the park. Like, she lights up not even the room, like the whole fucking province, because in Canada we have provinces, not states. And that's something that is worth holding on to. That's something that's worth cherishing. That's something that is so pure that I would be an absolute asshole to just throw away. And it's also something that has caught my attention so much that it was worth fighting for you. When it comes to this, when it comes to what we're doing, when it comes to this experience in Earthrealm, can we be friends with our exes? If you never cared about them, 100%. And to any of my exes that might be listening to this episode, I cared about you, right? And that's why we're still friends. To the exes that I am not friends with, give me a call. Shoot me a text. I still have the same phone number. Come on. Let's see what you're up to. And it's funny because we talk about this stuff. You talk a big game about what it's like to be friends with your exes, and I guarantee you, there's somebody out there that I dated for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months that I'm completely oblivious to. And they're like, I hate this guy. They're like Billy Madison scratching my name into a list,
Yeah.
And so there was another thing too. Like when I left you, not when I left you, we were together. I'm just making it worse. So I went to see you last weekend, and then I pet the dogs. And then when I left, I went to have lunch with an ex, and we were talking about just the same thing. I haven't seen her in 2 years, and we just pick up like nothing happened. And we were talking about how, how I'm at the point right now where I'm starting to fall in love with myself. And she says, that's amazing. She goes, because for years you fucking hated yourself so much and you bled on everybody and all this sort of stuff. And I'm like, it's funny that you can see that. She goes, oh, I mean, you thought I was an idiot, but I can still see this stuff. She goes, what you never noticed was every single girl, for the most part, was staring at you when we were out. Everyone was paying attention to you, whether you were being loud, whether you were being quiet. And you
have a presence.
She's like, and you were oblivious. You were totally oblivious to all of it. And she said, that's what made me feel special too, was that you were oblivious to all of them, yet you looked right at me. And so that's like a characteristic of me. And so when you're insecure and all that sort of stuff, there's so many things that you just miss. And that's carrying that forward. This is me. I'm talking me. I dated her like 15, 20 years ago. And so carrying that forward, that's the same shit that happened with you and me. When I looked at you, you knew that you were the center of my universe. But I missed so much. I didn't see certain things. I was oblivious to a lot. And as were you, type of thing. Like again, we should have been more open. We should have been more talking.
We both had our own storms that we weren't talking to each other about. We couldn't help each other because we weren't talking about it.
And we didn't want to burden and all that sort of stuff. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, this is one of those characteristics that finally came to light because you showed me, the gift that you gave me was that I could understand that I was actually lovable. And this is me being pretty much vulnerable out, to the entire audience, that, men think about certain things differently, and women think about their men as rugged, tough. Like, I've got a beard that says this guy knows exactly what he's doing. I grew that perfectly. Because I can hide behind the beard.
This guy knows what's up.
Yeah. And for the most part, I really, truly do.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the interconnectedness of being a boyfriend, I think you said it, like, you nailed it just fucking perfectly. When you're like, oh, you can get girls. You just can't keep them. I'm like, but I never had to. I just never had to. Because I would get bored within 3 months. And it wasn't about the girl. It was about me. It was about my own self-hatred.
Mm-hmm.
So, my first relationship coming out of this was you.
And a lot of your
And
friends too would say, as I got to know you and your friends, they would say, man, I'm so happy for you with this relationship, because for the longest time you would just be like, I'm unlovable, I'm never gonna have a girlfriend, this isn't for me, blah blah blah.
yeah,
Then look at you.
I mean, I didn't know what to do. You guys, like, you have to feed you guys, water them,
Yeah,
love,
we're a lot.
pet heads. It's a
Women.
lot of work. A lot of work. And for me, it was like, I was running from that. And again, this is mommy issues, and I mean, you want to talk about relationships, you want to get raw. I can talk about, my entire life. I could smell a girl with daddy issues out from across the room. Like, I knew exactly who I was going to approach, but that becomes my mommy issue that allowed me to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so healing that wound or working on that wound was absolutely existentially massive. And then when you entered my life, I got to put that all into practice. And I really, truly loved you for the best that I knew how. And it sounds weird when I say loved, because I still do love you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like what we were, that intensity was unnecessary.
Yeah.
And again, love bombing versus true love. And so, we sit back and even still, you said to me before we start this podcast, you said, hey, don't be that guy. And what she was referring to is, when I do my show, I turn the show on and I become the host of my show.
Mm-hmm.
And I hide in plain sight with that because I'm a character. If you ever listen to my show, I'm a character. And who's talking right now is me, stripped completely away. You're getting the real me. The whole audience is getting the real me.
And I appreciate it.
But it's what needed to happen for this message to get out.
Yeah.
And if I have to demonstrate my vulnerability to say that not everybody's a rock, because if you go and look at my stuff, everything's port polished and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you listen to it, you talk about it, and you're like, fuck. I'm getting misled.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting misled by social media. And what do? Every single time, every single human in North America, they touch their phone, they're addicted to the phone. The phone can't be put down for any prolonged period of time. So you're being inundated with thoughts that aren't your own, and they're going against everything that you think is your own. And you're losing yourself in the fucking heroes, the algo. You're losing yourself in what the gurus are saying, because they need clickbait, they need this, they need that.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the shit that drives me nuts. Because people could say, well, aren't you a coach? Aren't you a fucking thought leader? I am. And I hate the industry. And it's the weirdest thing in the world, because all I want to do is help people.
Mm-hmm.
And all I want to do is help myself through helping people. And all I want to do is become a better version of myself than I was 2 days ago, 3 days ago, yesterday.
I think that's the
before this
best
podcast
goal for
started.
anyone, just to be a better version of yourself every single day than the version you were yesterday.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't even know how else to put that. I'm still energetically thugged out. What I mean by that is, there's a side of me that's like, I will fucking murder anyone that, wrongs the people in my life. The funny thing about that is
we are in Canada, so let's just put a disclaimer. You will not murder anyone.
Yeah, actually.
Remember, we're in Canada. Everything is so literal here.
Disclaimer. If you're going to soundbite any of this podcast,
I'll just throw this in there
must
for you.
soundbite it in its entirety for consistency and context.
I don't actually mean to unalive an individual. I mean that, like, there are pieces of me that are just like everybody. There are pieces of everybody that are, I don't want to say not archaic, but like Neanderthalic. I'm drawing a blank on the term,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, it reminds me of Jordan Peterson says, it's not a good man that does nothing, right? What was the quote?
I think it's
a man who's not capable of violence isn't a good man. A man who is capable of violence and doesn't commit it is a good man.
It's completely attractive, especially, well, for me, and I think a lot of women, when they know a man can hurt someone but actively chooses not to, and they demonstrate restraint, and
We've been
they
in
don't go
situations.
off the wall. A man out of control, completely unattractive. Like, it grosses me out. As soon as I see someone who has like their swinging dick ego, oh, you offended me, oh, blah, 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 I'm like, ugh, you're gross. But a man who someone insults them or shows up in a way and tries to hurt them, and then they see it and react differently and don't react poorly, I'm like, ooh, nice.
Well, we've been in situations where I've been very close to being tested. You've seen that. You've seen the side of me where I snap at somebody who's interfered with you.
I've seen I've seen someone confront you face to face, wanting to fight you, and you stood there like a rock. Like, you did not let that person bring you to that level and trick you into being a complete douchebag. You would have won that fight. I'm sure.
100% I would have. I know exactly what you're talking about. Stupid.
And it just showed me that the amount of restraint, the amount of position that you have, and the control that you have, it's attractive. There's no other way to say it. Like, if you went off the rails and you fought him like a complete douchebag because he was goating you into it, I'd be like, you guys are a bunch of dumbasses.
My only position at that moment in time was to make sure he wasn't driving his car. So the only thing I would have done to fight him, even though he was trying to fight me, was I would have just put him on the ground and stepped on his throat and said, "Shut the fuck up. Go upstairs. We'll deal with this in the morning."
And he needed it too, but
yeah. So I mean, that's, these are the things in life, right? And so what do we do with this? What do we do when again, Alan Watts says things like, "A man who only thinks only has his thoughts to think about." To everyone who's in a relationship that isn't having the conversations, that isn't saying the thing, to everyone that's in a relationship going, "I'm going to talk to my friends about this. I'm going to talk to this. I'm going to look at the Instagram. I'm going to, the algorithm's now inside my brain, so it's going to show me stuff." It's going to mess you up.
mm-hmm.
And this is one of those things where it doesn't matter what age you are. If you're in a position to learn something from a relationship, if you're afraid to lose the relationship, you're in the wrong relationship. 100%. And I learned that unequivocally with you. I knew it, but we put it into practice.
Yep.
And so we lost each other. And it was the biggest loss you've ever taken in your entire life. So, but it also, that showed us a ton. I remember, like, there was a point in time where, like, I had to fully digest everything that was going on. And it was like 2 weeks we didn't talk. And I said, I didn't like that at all. I don't care for that.
We
and
both didn't like it. Yeah. We were like, this sucks.
Yeah.
I was pissed off at you because from day one, you were always like, yeah, we'll be friends forever, whatever happens. And then neither of us were talking to each other. I was like, what a fucking liar.
Well, I mean, extenuating circumstances. I had to digest what the hell just took place.
Yeah, but I also didn't know that part about you because you kept so much of that, how you operate, quiet. Like, I understand you like your alone time, but I didn't understand to what capacity until we started talking after those 2 weeks of non-contact and started unpacking things.
But that's how it had to happen. And so that's one of the major things. That's one of the major things that needed to be discussed on this podcast as well. There is no clear path to what you're doing, no matter what the gurus say, no matter what the talking heads out there are going to talk to you about your relationship. You're living in a unique experience to you. It doesn't matter that everything seems the same and seems this and seems that. These are your factors. And it comes down to what you choose and what you want. And what really happens is you accept in your life, externally, that which you feel about yourself internally. And we touched on that earlier. And so when enough was enough with you, I mean, the timing was terrible, but it had to happen the way it did.
It was terrible.
It had to happen that way.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't willing to, and this is another thing about men. We pick a sports team when we're 12 and we stick with it, ride or die until we're dead. So, it's like, to me, it's like, if we screw this up, it's failure. And I don't want failure. I always said to Christy, which was also intimidating, that I'm only going to do this once. I'm going to pick one and be done with it. I'm not quitting.
That was intimidating to me, especially coming out of a 20-year marriage. And then I meet this man who essentially has treated me in a way where I've always wanted, and he sees me and we can have these deep connecting conversations. And then he's like, yeah, I could see us getting married. And I'm like, what? I just got out of one. What the fuck?
Yeah. Well, what are you going to do? So as we sit here now, it's one of those neat things where we transition, and that doesn't mean an end or even a beginning. It means, well,
an
actually,
adjustment.
it kind of
means
does.
an adjustment.
the transition negates the beginning and the end. I firmly believe that we ended because we needed to, because the thing that we were doing wasn't working. And 1,000 times over, you're going to hear the guru say, once it's done, it's done. Don't even bother going back, because you're just going to go and repeat the same bullshit after. No.
There are caveats. Yeah.
That is 90% of the people. They will repeat the same bullshit. But there's no way in hell, and you and I've even talked about this, there's no way in hell that we're going to put that relationship moniker back on us until we've done the work, until we understand that here's where we fucked up and here's how we can make this better. And honestly, once that work is done, there's no proof that we'll be like, hey, maybe we don't want to get back together. Maybe we just want to stay, that this friend thing is great, And so living in a world where you don't need absolutes creates opportunity in every aspect of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably my biggest takeaway from what the gurus are saying, to what we're saying, to what you're feeling as the audience.
Mm-hmm.
And that, that's a huge one. That just be okay with how it's going. Be true to yourself. Stick with what you know about yourself, and don't listen to me. Don't listen to Christy. Don't listen to the gurus. Take information from everywhere and say, hey, this is kind of what I think and what I like.
That's what we're supposed to do.
We're at 1 minute and there it is, 1:11.
1:11.
Right,
yeah.
I
think that's the most important part, though, is, and I love that it's at 1:11, is when you really find yourself and your true north and who you are and what you like and what you want, it really does close doors for the ones that do not align, and it opens the doors for the ones that do align. It's when you don't know who you are, you're willing to accept attention from absolutely anything.
And that attention is toxic.
It completely is. And I think it was with Don Miguel Luis from his book of the love, the fifth commandment, right? Where if you're in a house, just imagine you're in a house and your fridge is empty, your cupboards are empty, like there's nothing, and you are starving. You're like, oh my God, I'm so hungry. Oh, this sucks. And you can't leave. You can't get anything. You can't order anything. Like, you're starving. And then for some reason, a man shows up at your door with a pizza. And he's like,
oh yeah,
I have some pizza for you. The only thing, you can have it for free. You just got to let me into your house. If you're starving, of course, you're going to be like, yes, come in, let me eat. You're going to eat the pizza. And then this man starts rooting through your stuff. And then he starts, destroying your home and, doing all these things. And you're just like, okay, what's just happened here? And on the flip side of that, if you're in your home and your fridge is full, your cabinets are full, you're overflowing with abundance of food, this man shows up with a pizza and he's like, you can have this pizza if you let me into your house. You're going to evaluate that person a little bit more, because you're not coming from a place of lack. You're already fulfilled as you are. You're so happy with yourself and where you're living and the position that you're in, that you're going to look at this person and you're going to be like, okay, does this person align with me? Do we have the same values? Do we have the same goals? I'm not starving for that pizza. So do I want this person into my house? And you're going to be a lot more selective in those relationships than if you're coming from a position of being starving, whether it's emotionally and all those things that come along with your own personal development, knowing who you are. And that was the biggest chunk that really resonated with me, is like, if you can create your own happiness and your own fulfillment, it's a lot easier to find the better relationships, because how you pick happens a lot faster.
So in that very same analogy for you can have a stocked house, cupboards, fridge, whole 9 yards. Man shows up with a pizza, you're like, no thank you, right? Now you have to question it, though, when another man shows up with Greek on wheels, because you're like, oh, maybe I do want that, right? Because you've got all the food in the world, but Mediterranean, why not?
No, but you still, I think, at the core are going to evaluate, no matter what the food is. You can be tempted.
You can turn away pizza man, but you would question Greek guy, because clearly he's coming with something that you really want, right? And that's one of the things. So it's like, okay, now I'm going to look at this. I mean, okay, I see. And it's so true. It's so true, because again, scarcity and lack and all that sort of stuff, and fear of being alone, people
Mm-hmm.
make weird decisions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many people listening right now, how many people do you know that are in abusive relationships, or that are that have always been in abusive relationships. In other words, they keep dating new guys, but it's the same dude, different face. You know,
Yeah,
these
like
girls,
from the outside, all the friends can see it, but you can't see it yourself. And you're like, why do I keep dating these douchebags? Well, they're showing you the red flags, but you're just ignoring them, being like, oh, well, this is Tom's different than Phil, and he won't do this to me. No, they're going to do the exact same thing because you're repeating that pattern and you're refusing to look at it. And yeah, it's funny because I never really got to do anything alone in my life, so I'm so happy that I went on this boarding adventure alone. And now Brazil alone. I'm learning a lot about myself in this space of being alone and even sitting in my house alone. Like,
and this is one of those things that she's not alone, ladies and gentlemen. There are men very close by to her house, just so you all know.
I live in a city, so there's men everywhere.
Does
I
not
mean,
live alone.
boarding, I've been hit on like at least a dozen times with all these, you know,
Oh, I'm not worried about
young
you getting
pups
hit on.
around. They're like,
I'm just saying
hey,
it's,
hey,
you
baby.
you just don't want to announce that you're a blonde girl living alone. It's different.
Oh, no, I got cameras, I got security, I got a Rottweiler.
Yeah, we heard him barking earlier. So this is all stuff that I quasi knew, you know, would be really good for you, to sample all this stuff out there. And so there was a point in time in our separation journey and sort of coming back together. And I even said to you, you know, with regards to regulating and that sort of shit,
Yeah.
you know, it's what you're going through is a bit tumultuous, but you have all the strength in the world to get there. And I said, for the time that you need it, please use me. Please use my, whatever you need from me, my energy, to keep you strong and regulated, and to know that you're loved. And this is one of those things that not a lot of people really truly understand, is that you can do anything in the world if you know quietly there's somebody behind you going, hey, you know, when you need me, I'm here.
Mhm.
You know, we'll make it work, whatever you need. And the confidence that you're going to gain from all of the things that you're doing on your own, that's the thing that's going to push you out of the need for other people.
Mhm.
And that pushes you out of the scarcity and pushes you into the abundance. It's that fills your cupboards. And then you can say, I don't fucking need this person. I don't need these people. I don't need the rest of you, because there are so many girls out there that get on Tinder and they swipe, and then every single guy on Tinder is like swiping on everything, and they'll just talk whatever, you know. And like hookup culture is just it's, to me, it's absolutely disgusting.
It's gross. Yeah, I absolutely love that you brought up Tinder, and I really want to. We keep chatting. Like, this is a great episode, but anyone,
and you didn't have the energy to do it at first.
I know.
I told you it was gonna be good.
Anyone, I went on a dating app before we were dating. I wanted to see what it was like, and I made a profile. I think it was like 8:30 in the morning. And I put everything in there. I put very specific things about what I am like, what I'm interested in, cute little
No Teslas,
photos.
no masks.
And from 8:30 until 12, I think I got like 47 freaking messages from men. And I'm looking through all these profiles, and I was just like, holy crap. One, majority of them did not read anything I wrote. They are just swiping based on my photos, I'm assuming, because what they have in their profile is a direct opposite of what I want in a partner. I'd be like, you know, if I said doesn't drive a Tesla, they're like, I'm a Tesla fan. And I'm like, ugh. Like, you didn't read my profile.
Shut up.
Whatever it was, it's just like they were completely opposites. And it was such and the messages I got, they're like, hey, are you available tonight? And I'm like, ugh. I'm like, women, are you like that freaking easy that you just let anyone touch you? I'm like, that is so gross. So yeah, the hookup culture was completely nasty, and I deleted that profile. And because when I am ready for a relationship, I will not find them on a dating app at all. And I think any high profile, advanced thinking person, whatever you want to call it, like yourself and a lot of the friends that we've established out there, they're not going to touch those apps, because those people also feel the same way. They don't want that type of energy in their life. They don't want the hookup culture. They don't want to find a partner out of lack. And do some, you know, people find each other that are, you know, high profile thinking in there? I would say It's impossible to say they don't, but you'd have to sift through a lot of bullshit to find that one person. And I have
couldn't
zero
imagine
desire.
being on there.
No, it's soul sucking. Yeah. It's gross. Yeah. And even having the conversations with those people, the way I think is completely different. So we've talked about the third dimension and fifth dimension on the podcast, and the third dimension and the fifth dimensional thinking are two completely separate realms. It's an energetic resonance, and the conversations that happen on the third dimension are very superficial.
Shapes and colors.
The fifth dimension is a lot deeper. And I know for myself, you have to be able to have a conversation about fifth dimensional stuff and higher level thinking for me to even be interested in you, because I can't do shapes and colors. Like, it's soul killing to me. If you're like, hey, what's your favorite color? Like, yeah, I want to know if we're dating, but that's not the first thing I want you to talk to me about. I want you to be like, yo, what do you think about Sasquatches? And do they have an energetic resonance to showing up, or are they real? Are they fake? What about aliens? What about, how do we have conversations between each other, through esoteric realms? All the, whatever it is. I want that to happen. And it's funny because I even told that there was this young kid hitting on me on the scale. And he was like, man, I really want to date you. And I was like, I'm flattered, but I'm looking for something a little bit different. And he's like, what are you looking for? I'm like,
I can be that.
Pretty much. He's like, I can be that. If I have to tell you what you have to be, I don't want you to become it. I just want you to already be there. And he's like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm like, you'll get it one day, young pup.
Well, yeah, you meet somebody and you're like, I want to date you. Like, you know me for like 10 seconds. You don't want to date me. You're interested in my meat suit. I get that. I mean, look at this thing.
I got it. It's a nice meat suit.
That's pretty sweet. So, so it's nice for you to see that and to get the charm and to get that exposure, but you can't live there. That's absolutely the thing.
It's gross. Yeah.
And so for me, like, that was the main thing that I ran away from back in the day, was like, I got to get away from all of this shit. I got to get away from all these people. It just wasn't, it was the worst. Every one night stand or whatever it is, you put yourself through, you lose a piece of your soul.
Yeah. It's designed to take.
It was just killing me. Absolutely killing me, unequivocally. And this was like 10 years ago.
I think that's a good freaking point right there. That's exactly it. Those types of relationships are designed to take. You're filling from a void. And a fifth dimensional or a higher perspective relationship, an intentional relationship, is about giving. Give to each other, reciprocal energies. Like, it's like a flow between the two, instead of like, oh, this is me, I need this, more, filling those voids. There's
and
two
now
separate energies.
You and I are in a position right now to actually actuate on that.
Mm-hmm.
As in before, it was detrimental. So like that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't matter sort of how esoteric you are or how advanced you are.
Mm-hmm.
You can get lost
mm-hmm.
in those traps 100%. And that this is for the audience. The audience needs to know that, there is no blueprint for this. And there is no thing that you're going to hear or see on any sort of the socials that's going to say, hey, this is how you fix this situation, because there are way too many personal factors involved. And the only thing that you can do is take the pain from a bad relationship and alchemize it and understand it and sort of learn about what it is. And then apply that to yourself and say, okay, I don't want this anymore. It's the same with health. The further down the health road you go, you're like, okay, I'm going to stop eating those things because of the way they deplete my body of energy.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be notorious for going to the gym and then going and getting a shawarma. And I remember, like, recently, on my weight loss journey, I'm down to 290 pounds now.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's still huge, but, I'm on my way down. And the idea of getting a shawarma kills me. I don't want to take a nap. And you remember sort of towards the end of us, I was napping at least every day at 2 o'clock.
All the time.
I had to nap.
It bothered me.
Yeah. But that was also energetic disassociation. This was me unequivocally needing some alone time, and I didn't have it. And
yes, because you were getting drained. Yeah, no. But it's not a knock at me, because you also weren't communicating that to me.
Yeah, it's me. These are the things that I had to look at and go, I fucked this up, right? And this is one of those things that people don't want to admit. They're like, oh, no, you don't. It's not just pain that's going to teach you things. And I'm like, well, primarily it is. That's your best teacher, is to come out of the fire. That's where the phoenix comes from. You rise from the ashes all the time. You're not gonna have your revelations on the yoga mat. You can trick yourself into having some serious revelations with LSD or any sort of psychedelic, but the real work comes from internalizing it all, and from making mistakes, right? And so, did I make mistakes? That's the cool thing in the world. I don't think that we made a single mistake in our relationship. I think it played out exactly as it had to play out to get us to a position that we're in right now. And so, what I first deemed as failure, I now deem as, again, transition. And that's really cool.
Successful transition.
Yeah, that's yet to be decided.
No, I think it is a successful transition. We went through a lot in the time that we were together. The breakup was a lot, very trying and difficult to go through. But where we're sitting right now, I feel like it's a success. I don't feel like anything is anything other than that. We are in each other's lives. We enjoy each other's presence, and we still have these great conversations. So I will not allow the title of not successful be a thing, because I think it was.
Well, I think we're still doing it.
Yes,
I think,
because
I
it's
think,
not. We're evolving.
Yeah, that's it. Christy Morrison evolved.
Shut up.
I love the position that we're in. I love that the openness of where we are, and I wish this for everybody. But at the same time, we aren't everybody, and there's a lot of people that once you sever ties with somebody, the best thing you can do is move on.
Yeah, I think a lot of people should be having these conversations. If you feel like you are not happy with your partner and you can work on it, then bring it up and work on it. Both sides have to be able to work on it. If one side is not willing to work on it, then the answer is that it needs to be done. If you feel like you don't want the relationship anymore, stop stringing that other person along. You can't you're not doing anyone any favors. You're not being like, oh, well, I'm going to help them because, I don't want to hurt their feelings and we've been together for so long. Like, walking away from someone after 20 years of being with them was the hardest decision in my entire life. But I knew that I would either have to play small and my soul would die, because I'm shrinking. I'm not being honorable to myself.
You actually said I was harder than the marriage.
Yes. Well, you were, because essentially we didn't have any problems.
On paper, we were great.
Yeah, so us breaking up was definitely harder than my 20-year marriage, because I came to the realization that at the end of the 20 years, it served its purpose. It had an expiration date, and even though he wanted to keep going on forever, I knew I couldn't. And it was painful to admit that. And
yeah, you also gave him, and I heard the stories, you gave that guy ample opportunity
yes.
to change, grow, adapt,
yes.
anything.
Yeah.
I didn't get any of that. I was just fucking cut and run.
Cut and run. I learned from my mistakes. I cut fast now.
Burkhorn. The interesting thing too, though, is like you asked me about can men and women be friends after a relationship? Yes, I say that we can.
I think so too.
But your relationships, you haven't touched on that. All of them. You didn't have too many, but if you think about your exes now, what were those breakups like?
My very first boyfriend, no, I would never be his friend. That was traumatic. I was young and 16 and whatever. It was also highly dysfunctional, and I didn't know how highly dysfunctional it was. Would I have a coffee with him? No, I think that chapter has changed, completely closed, and I have zero desire to have a conversation with him. My ex-husband, would I be his friend? I would say yes, because we were friends to start our relationship. We did grow apart, but would I have coffee with him? Would I go bowling? Sure. Then I would decide, okay, is this a good friendship or not? I can't say that it would or it wouldn't be, because I haven't been in that situation. I don't know how he's going to react, because I don't know if he has the capacity to be a friend. But if we both have the capacity to be respectful to each other and be friendly, sure, I don't see why I wouldn't be his friend. because I've been his cheerleader for so many years. And
he was pretty nasty towards the end there for like a good year anyway.
yeah, he was. But I'm also no innocent party. Like, I've also probably said some super shitty things to him.
How dare you.
But I understand that everything that happened in the last couple of years between us, it was because he was losing control. And that was his reactory methods. And I know from his own traumas, like, I've been able to unpack his traumas greater than he has because he's chosen not to. So I can see where his wounds are, and I can empathize why he's reacting this way, because pretty much everything in his life has, had an influence on where he was. Just because he was shitty at the end doesn't mean I would never entertain being his friend. I would allow the space for us to try, but it doesn't guarantee that we would be friends. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense.
And other than that, like, you're my other relationship. Like, there's other people that I've had associations with.
Easy. It's just a PG show. Come on.
That, yeah, I would remain friends with them. And that's about it. I don't see any reason why I wouldn't, unless someone has hurt me in a way. Like, I draw the line at physical, emotional, and mental abuse. If you've done any of those three things to me, I will cut you out. I have zero tolerance for that. And I have zero tolerance for actually allowing that into my space. So even if you did it and you're in a weak spot, I have sympathy for you. I wish you strength to correct your actions, because it's a repeated pattern, more likely than not.
I know what you're
And
talking about.
that's something that I will not allow into my space. So you can have regret about doing those things to me and still want to pursue a friendship with me. But from my side of the friendship, I'm done. Zero tolerance for that shit. You know?
Yeah, it's it's really neat, with your boundaries from a girl who absolutely needed everybody to love her at one point.
Yeah, I actually did need that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and to sit where you are now and to see how far you've come. Obviously, I've only been in your life in a short while, but hearing the stories, watching you grow over the past year and a half, 2 years, and seeing you now, it's phenomenal.
Thank you.
And just knowing how much further you're going to go is
I'm
really
excited
cool.
for it. Like, it's true.
Yeah.
There was a point in my life, and a large chunk of my life, where I would crave and desire everyone's friendship. I'm like, why don't they like me? Like, I'm a good person. Why can't they see that? Or maybe they're having a bad day. And I give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, oh, well, they were mean to me, but they're having a bad day. Or, they said something shitty to me, but they really didn't mean it. And I would be justifying these people's actions. And it came from my own need of wanting to be liked for whatever reason, because why wouldn't you like me? I'm freaking cool.
Is that right?
And now I'm being very selective with these people and who I have in my life, because I don't require everyone to be my friend. If you don't like me, that's on you. I'm like, something wrong with you if you don't like me.
The next stage of this for you is no longer wondering if people like you, wondering if you like people.
I'm in that transition actually right now. I look out the window, I'm like, oh, huh.
Yeah, that's a huge one. That's a huge shift when you're like, oh, you know what? Like, I mean, what's the analogy that you used to walk into a room and be like, I wonder if these people like me. And now you walk into a room and you say, I wonder which of these people I like. And so that's one of the most powerful shifts. So, luckily I went through it years ago. And now I am what I am. Take it or leave it.
It's so powerful when you reach that point too.
Yeah.
So powerful.
I'm willing to adapt, grow, learn. Like that, the whole purpose for me is more. Just I want to understand everything. But yeah, I don't have time. And you even said to during the relationship, you're like, how come you can just dismiss people, or how come no? And I'm like, well, because I know them. And you're like, you can't possibly. I'm like, I do. I do.
You read people really, really well. Like, you can see them from a mile away. And I'm like, you just saw their face. You're like, I saw the subtleties of their actions. And I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, that's that's life path 9. That's Cancerian. That's
Yeah.
that's
part
also
of your
me being,
web, your magical web.
and that's like one of the things for me was like, and that's self defense. Like when I was a kid, I was always in the sticky wicket.
Mhm.
So I always had to protect myself. So I always had to be hyper vigilant. You never knew if mother was going to flip or do whatever.
Yeah.
And she put a lot of her emotional bullshit onto us, the kids. And she's a different person now, but or maybe she's not. I don't know. Maybe I just accept her more. But she my upbringing trained me to do certain things. I have a certain set of skills, like we talked about earlier. But that's an important thing for me to be safe. And that also, that umbrella expanded past you when we were together. And there were a lot of things I told you. And I remember you're like, you got mad at me. You're like, no, we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But I was never wrong. You just learned, And that was one of the things too. Like,
That's my big heart, though. I'm always like, sometimes it takes over.
It's true. And so, like, you can't, at no point would anybody want to change that in you because it's your endearing qualities. The best thing that I could say is, if we're together, I don't mean like coupling, I mean physically, if we're together, the best thing I can do is just move people out of your life, just, asshole, or protect you from that. But here's the thing too. And this is what one of the things is like, it's not about protection. It's not about that. It's like, it's more about, hey, being there when you're learning your lessons and allowing you to learn the lessons. And I remember saying to you numerous times that I did you a disservice by showing up, like right after you had split with Eric. I showed up shortly after that, and I made sure that I was not interfering or anything like that.
Yeah, we started off as friends.
100%.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, I did you a disservice by not allowing you to sit in it. Like I pulled you immediately into distraction. And that I thought was a good thing to sort of,
I think we both thought it was a good thing. So, we're both at fault for that.
Yeah. And so you had to deal with it. You had to deal with it and me at the same time, type of thing. And of course, the other lady too, like the quote unquote replacement, like the core nucleus of what you were hovering around.
Yeah.
All of it poofed.
Well, also too, we broke up when I signed my pretty much separation paperwork too.
Yeah,
like that was
my job was done. She just kicked me to the curb.
Shut up. It was a lot to unpack all at the same freaking time. Thanks, dude.
Well, it's still unpacking. There's so much more to the story too, which is absolutely wild. And
we are unfolding a lot with time, and we don't know what the future looks like, but we do know we're learning a lot, and I think both of us really appreciate that.
Agreed. And I feel like we're beating a dead horse at this point. So I'll say one thing quick to the audience, and that's this. I've said it 1,000 times on this episode, but ladies and gentlemen, do not allow yourself to get wrapped up in the algorithm. Do not allow yourself to listen to the gurus. Do not allow yourself to listen to anybody. There's no difference between a super helpful person trying to share this information with you and Andrew Tate being a woman-hating asshole. They're all identical influencers sharing their opinions, and you're sitting there going, oh, which one do I like? Which one do I not like? Instead of saying to yourself, who am I? How do I resonate? What is this all about? How is this beneficial to me? How can I do this for me? How can I be the best version I possibly can? Is it in this relationship? Is it out of this relationship? Do I truly value this person? Everything other than that is just noise and fluff. And for you, the listener, please do yourself a favor. Put the phone down, analyze yourself, look at the relationship, be as truthful as you possibly can, and you already know your answers inside. Act on them. Be okay.
Love that. Yeah, amazing way to end this episode. We went long today. We're about 1 hour and 40 minutes on this chat, which it flowed so naturally, and we covered such invaluable information. And I look forward to continuing to unfold this journey and what we learn and share what we learn, because I'm getting a lot of people reaching out to me on various social medias saying how much things are resonating, how much these perspectives are hitting home for them, how much they appreciate it, and they felt really alone. So that fills my heart, and I know it does for you too. So thank you for joining me and having this conversation and being yourself and vulnerable like I requested. I do greatly appreciate that. So everyone listening, thank you for tuning in. If you liked this episode, like, comment, share, get this out there, because if it resonated with you, I guarantee you it's going to resonate with someone in your pool. And that's the only way we can share and grow and anchor in this new energy. So like, comment, share, follow the Conscious Journey podcast, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.